Imagine, a normal morning, a girl gets on her bike and goes for a ride. She promises to be home for lunch, but she never comes back. And later, a creepy photo appears, where the tied-up girl begs for help with her eyes. More than 30 years have passed since then, and the mystery is still unsolved. The mysterious disappearance of Tara Calico, a case in which no suspect has been apprehended for 37 years. In 1989, a year after Tara Calico mysteriously disappeared, a Polaroid photo of a tied-up girl who looked like her was found in Florida. The photo and a broken iPod found in the bushes are still the only clues in Tara's missing person case, which remains unsolved. Tara Calico disappeared in Belen, New Mexico, on September 20th, 1988, while on a bike ride. That morning, the 19-year-old girl left her home to ride her bike around the neighborhood, as she always did. Tara did this every day, riding the same route. The girl's mother, Patty Dole, knew exactly where her daughter would ride. They used to go on bike rides together regularly. That sunny morning, the mother did not dare to ride with her daughter. The woman had a good reason for this. During previous walks, she had been frightened by the same car, each time deliberately driving aggressively near her. Tara, however, did not take these events as a threat, refused her mother's offer to carry Mace with her, and before leaving the house jokingly told Patty Dole where to look for her if she did not return home. On Saturday, September 20th, 1988, 19-year-old Tara Calico set out for her usual morning bike ride. The route she took each day was about 17 miles, 27 kilometers, along Highway 47 south of Belen, New Mexico. Tara was in a great mood. She had just started her sophomore year at the University of New Mexico, and her day was scheduled. She was supposed to be home at noon, and at 12:30 p.m. she was supposed to meet her boyfriend, Richie, at the tennis court. When the clock struck 12 p.m. and Tara had not shown up, her mother, Patty Dole, began to worry. Half an hour later, at 12:30 p.m., Tara was still missing, so Patty called Richie to see if he had met her at the court. Unfortunately, Richie had not seen Tara either. Knowing that something was wrong, Patty immediately called the police to report her daughter missing. But instead of sitting and waiting, she got in her car and drove along Tara's usual route, hoping to find some sign. However, the road was empty. No Tara, no bright pink bike, no other clues. All she found were tire tracks that abruptly turned off the road onto the side of the road and ended at the spot where something bad supposedly happened. When the police arrived, they were able to find several key clues. On the side of the road, they found pieces of the Sony Walkman cassette player that Tara always used when she was walking. The player was smashed, as if it had been deliberately thrown or broken. This discovery confirmed to investigators that Tara was most likely not just a runaway, but a victim of a crime. Witness statements and suspicions. The search continued, and the police began interviewing possible witnesses who had driven along the highway that morning. Several people said they had seen Tara on a bicycle. Their statements were disturbing. Tara was riding on the shoulder of the road, and a light brown or beige Ford pickup truck was driving next to her. The driver of the pickup, they said, was acting extremely suspicious. He was slowing down and then suddenly accelerating, as if he was chasing the girl. The police focused on questioning Tara's family and friends. Her parents, Patty, and her husband John, were first on the list. They said that Tara was extremely cheerful, responsible, and full of plans for the future. They completely ruled out the possibility that she could run away from home, claiming that they had a wonderful, trusting relationship with their daughter. There were no quarrels or disagreements. All this made her disappearance even more mysterious. Despite all efforts, the first days of the investigation yielded no results that could lead to Tara. The only thing that was clear was that she had not simply disappeared. Someone had taken her against her will, and the search was just beginning. For 9 months, the search for Tara and the suspects in her disappearance had not moved forward until June 15, 1989, when a mysterious Polaroid photograph was found in a Port St. Joe, Florida, store parking lot. The photo showed a girl and a boy lying on sheets and pillows, with their mouths taped shut and their hands tied. The woman who found the photo immediately called the police and reported that a white Toyota van driven by a young man in his 30s had been parked at the location shortly before her arrival. The police set up a roadblock to intercept the vehicle, but attempts to find the van or its driver were unsuccessful. The Polaroid attracted national attention when the photo was featured on the television program America's Most Wanted. Immediately after the show aired, Patty Dole's phone was literally ringing off the hook with calls from friends asking if the person in the photo was Tara. When she saw the picture, the woman wasn't sure that it was her daughter. But the more she looked at the image, the more she was sure that the girl in the picture was Tara. In addition to the general external resemblance, Patty noticed an important detail. A colorless stripe, a scar, was visible on the girl's thigh in the picture, exactly the same as Tara's. In addition, next to the girl was a crumpled book by W.K. Andrews, Tara's favorite author. However, the scar and the book alone were not enough to make a conclusion. Experts from the Los Alamos National Laboratory expressed doubt that the missing calico was depicted in the picture, and the FBI joined their opinion, failing to provide convincing evidence. However, experts from Scotland Yard in the UK, who were brought in to help with the case, came to the conclusion that the girl in the picture was indeed Tara. Later, the family of the boy in the Polaroid was found. Relatives identified the photo as 9-year-old Michael Henley, who disappeared in New Mexico in April 1988 while hunting with his father. It seemed that the case was getting closer to a solution, but at one point the situation became even more confusing. In 1990, the remains of Michael Henley were found in the Zuni Mountains in New Mexico, just 7 miles from the camp where he disappeared. An examination showed that the child had died before the Polaroid was developed. However, there were still no traces of Tara, no new evidence or suspects. Despite decades of searching, the Tara Calico case remains one of the most mysterious and unsolved in U.S. history. Here's a more detailed look at the events since her disappearance, including new twists and claims. Decades of searching, new leads. With each passing year, hope of finding Tara alive waned. Time passed, but the case remained frozen. In 2013, 25 years after her disappearance, a task force was formed to reinvestigate the case. Detectives re-examined all the evidence, interviewed witnesses, and combed through archives. But unfortunately, it yielded little. In 2003, unable to bear the constant reminder of the tragedy, Tara's parents, Patty and John Dole, made a difficult decision. They sold their home in Belen and moved to Florida. Patty admitted that the idea of moving had been on her mind for years, but they had held off because they hoped Tara would return. In 2008, a shocking new twist appeared in the case. Valencia County Sheriff Rene Rivera went public with his knowledge of what happened to Tara Calico. He claimed that Tara had died in an accident and named 2 local teenagers who he claimed were responsible for her death. According to this version, the boys had been chasing Tara in a pickup truck, and at some point, one of them accidentally hit her. Frightened, they panicked, got rid of the body and the bike, and then swore to keep the incident a secret. Rivera did not reveal the names of the suspects, but he emphasized that they still live in Belen. Why have there been no arrests? Sheriff Rivera's statement caused a wide resonance, but it has not led to any arrests. The main reason is the absence of Tara's body. Without physical evidence, such as remains, a bicycle, or other evidence that could corroborate the sheriff's story, prosecutors had little basis to bring charges. The story remained a mere guess, though many Belen residents said they had heard a similar story. In 2017, the FBI offered $10,000 for any information that could help solve the case. But that too was to no avail. Tara Calico's case remains open, and her parents continue to live in hope that the truth will one day be revealed.